All right, I want to talk today about some of my best and some of my worst lures from this previous year fishing in Lake Michigan for salmon and trout. I take like really good notes, and in fact, some of my friends mock me for the notes that I take for going fishing, but I do it for a reason. I take really good notes because I want to learn from what's working for me at a certain time during the year, and I think that it helps me become a better fisherman for future years. So I'm going to share with you some of my key learnings from this past year. First of all, which lures were my best ones? My best lures of 2024 were these three. It just so happens that they're three different kinds of lures. We have a paddle, we have a plug, and we have a spoon. That's not intentional. They are my top three lures by a long shot. In fact, these three lures alone counted for just about a third of my total take-home number of fish. So we have the RV blue jeans. We have, I think this is like a Wonder Bread plug, and it's like a white 11-inch paddle with a reflective, I don't know what that is, fish scale pattern on both sides. The fly that I have on this, you can tell it's pretty beat up. There's not much left to it. That's a blue Mirage fly. Now, a couple things on this. This guy was consistently on one of my long lines, usually the middle one on a side. So it would be like if I had a 100 and a 200 and a 300 copper, I would put this one on the 200 copper. This one I would consistently put on a downrigger, and I started about halfway through the year, maybe mid-June or so, maybe late June, started putting it on a downrigger, and from the first day I put it out there until the end, it was performing. Very impressive on that. I put it on a downrigger. I would really target the thermocline, right on the thermocline with this one. And this would be on my other downrigger, and I would put this one lower. This would be maybe 10 to 15 foot below the temperature break. And it worked really well. Now, one thing to note for this is I do have a lead. The lead for the fly is it's 44 inches. So I know the typical rule of thumb. The typical rule of thumb on any sort of a tractor, a flasher like that, or a spin doctor is usually it's about 3 times the length of the paddle. And for this, it would be, if I followed that rule of thumb, it would be 33 inches. So this is an 11-inch paddle, 3 times that is 33. It would be 33 inches. I had this at 33 inches for the first half of the year and got nothing. And I was just about ready to throw this out and say, forget it. And I thought, you know what, let me try one last thing. I lengthened that to 44 inches. And ever since that point, again, about halfway through the year, this just went off and it never stopped. So between these three lures set up in that way, got about a third of my fish. Love them. I'm not going to change anything with them going into next year. Now, I have a pile of pretty good ones. Not the best, but they performed admirably. I like all these. On the Magnum size, I have no idea what this one is called. That one did pretty decent for me. And then the old classic Magnum, it's pretty beat up, watermelon spoon. On the standard size, I have Green Goby, I have Happy Meal, Green Jeans, Flounder Pounder, and Wonder Bread. All those were pretty decent. And then on the slightly smaller, the super slim size, this one, what is that, a Magic Man. That one did really well, especially early in the year. Gold Rasta Goose, that one's got a gold back. This one also has a gold back, so I think that's called a Goldilocks. And then this is just the old standard double orange crush. All those were quite good. In general, these ones with the oranges and the golds were better earlier in the year or right after the lake flipped. So they were good when the water temperature was cold, higher up in the water column. And now, moving on to the ones that underperformed, especially relative to the amount of time I had out. So I would put these out just about every time. I had a lot of faith in them, but they just did not perform like I wanted them to. They all did catch a fish or two or maybe 3, but not as many fish as they should have for the amount of time they were out there. So this is the old classic standby raspberry carbon. I know a lot of people love it. It can catch big fish. It just didn't for me this year. This is the glow frog with that white belly. I caught maybe one or two, but I put it out there so much. Kind of disappointed with how that one did. And this, Kevin's girlfriend, Spin Doctor with the, I don't know what green fly that is. It was a great performer last year, 2023. So I kept putting it out and kept putting it out and kept putting it out, and it did not do well for me at all this year. I don't know what the deal is, but I lost a little bit of faith in all three of those. So that is my summary of what worked and what didn't. I hope you guys can use it for yourself as you learn what works for you. And just as a reminder, so for me, I'm going fishing in Lake Michigan in the Holland, Grand Haven, Muskegon, Port Sheldon area. So it's dealing with that kind of water quality. And these are the ones that worked best and didn't work best in that particular area. Comment below, let me know what you think. Is there something I'm missing here? Something that did work for you, or something that maybe you were really hoping it would work better than it did? Let me know. Thanks.